Hey guys, welcome in. Welcome to the stream. And once again, back live on the retro PC. I finally got the new adapter in. Works fine. Put it into the PC and reconnected the cables, and it's fine. And I moved the saves from the stream PC, which we've been using with Crossbox to play the game in the meantime. So we should be pretty much at the same spot. I also spent a significant amount of time going over the older WODs. It had been a while since we played this game, and we played it last Friday, and we did finish the dungeon, but after finishing the dungeon we were a bit lost. And I have some ideas of what it is that we need to do. Hey there, Will. I'm lucky you're here with the UK, because I tried that game that we're playing on Sunday. It's gonna be 30 minutes, Will, at the absolute max. It is a horrendous game. It might be the worst platforming game that I've ever played. That's saying something. It's worse than Sonic. And we're gonna spend 30 minutes on it, and then we're going to play a game that 48k RAM picked out, which is called Machinarium. And we're gonna spend half an hour on that as well, probably more. But, depending on how bad that one is, and then we might do other requests. We'll see. We'll move along, but I'll spend 30 minutes on it. I think I played it for roughly 30 minutes when I was trying it out. It is so difficult. It describes itself as the most difficult platform game ever made, and they're not very wrong on that. It is extremely difficult. Yeah, that's fine. It was cheap and cheerful. Doesn't matter. It's a nice addition to the collection. At some point I might make one of the boys play it just to practice hand-eye coordination, because it's tough and it's brutally difficult. I think I did. Yeah, the boys might love it. The 6-year-old won't, though. He's a very sore loser, and I try not to have him play anything that he loses easily at. He gets very upset. The 5-year-old is a little bit different. 6-year-old is also very gleeful when he wins. That's sort of usually how these things work out. You're very gleeful when you win. That also means that you're a very sore loser, and he just needs to learn how to lose. That's the way it is. Let's try to get going with this game. We had no idea what to do after we finally defeated that dungeon on Friday. And where is my face in this weird thing? There it is. And I have some ideas of what to do now that I've gone back to the WOD. We've spent almost 2 streams on that dungeon. And gained a lot of experience while doing so. Are we missing a little bit of the display here? We're missing something from the sides, I think.
Guys, I didn't imagine that, right? It definitely said a second ago that I could use this.
I want to do this and play with this just a little bit. It's too much. I need to play around a little bit with the capture card settings, and it's screwed up. Slightly screwed up at least the sizing of the window. Not by much though. It's really okay. Yeah, it's been a while since you streamed, Will. Are you streaming tomorrow? That seems about right. Expand this just a little bit here. I think that's about right. The brightness looks okay as well. Looks about right on both sides. At some point, so not the usual stream tomorrow morning. I like your Saturday streams. I like your Friday streams as well, but I like the Saturday streams more. I miss them. Now, what were we up to here? We start a new save for this stream. Now, we got out of the dungeon, and you sort of have an idea of who the bad guy is. I think we left an important piece of evidence in the dungeon, and when I was going through the wards, we found a book in the dungeon which might actually have been a key piece. And as is often the case, I was running very low on space in the inventory, and I left it behind. I'm very much hoping that we didn't accidentally lock ourselves in somehow by doing that. The book might actually still be there. So what I'm going to attempt to do is start by just going back there and fetching the damn thing. Yeah, okay, we're traveling in the right direction. That's really all that matters. Want to make sure we weren't going in the opposite direction to where we were supposed to be going. That would be bad. Bodies all over the place. We had a bit of fun getting there. Gonna go to Cowell Keep right now. Yeah, that's nice. It was a fun game. Were you here for bits of it? Yeah, there's a lot to watch. These are long games, and this one is longer than I really thought it would be. It's not fiendishly difficult, but it is It does have a relatively steep curve. Now I think this is the bad guy, this Navan guy. But, I think we left the proof that he is. At least I think that's what he read from the journal. Yeah, Might and Magic is a mostly easygoing. This game, however, last stream was a very difficult. This dungeon that we were in was probably the most difficult that we had in the game so far. We struggled a lot. We died a lot. Glad we didn't have a death counter. Sort of wondering whether whether something happened to the retro PC when we when the disk failed, because one thing I'm noticing is that the keyboard, which has always and is always on this switcher that I have, that switches the keyboard and the mouse between the different machines. It's acting very weirdly, both the switcher and the keyboard. Sort of wondering whether that's really what broke it. Might have to reset to get the keyboard back in. Mouse works, but the keyboard is out. And I notice also that 2 of the ports on the switcher don't work. Ports 2 and 4 work fine, 1 and 3 don't. I have no idea why that is. Keyboard works now at least. Okay. Back in business. Yeah, but getting back to this place. We can pass this place. Fine. We need to keep going until we get to the waterfall. Although I might make a stop at the temple as well. The game sort of did warn us when we ventured out last time that we were going perhaps too far. And we haven't really finished this. And we're back at the waterfall dungeon. I think I might adjust the brightness here just a little bit. Pretty dark. It's a little bit better. We really need to be able to see at least a little bit of what we're doing. Sorry. Now we need to find where we accidentally left this book. Somewhere in the dungeon. I think I went through the woods, so I think I have a rough idea of where it is. We're going to have to stroll around a bit to find it. Really just another example of the inventory wreaking havoc on us. Now we discovered that we've had this spell on us with an item for a long time. Last stream, almost by accident, or not almost by accident, I would say. Just a little light here so I see what I'm doing so I don't accidentally fall into the pit. So we left it in one of those rooms. It's in, not here, it's further on. We have this lovely item here, these binoculars, and what happens if you use it is that you basically get the results of this spell, which shows you every treasure chest, including ones that are in secret rooms. That's really enormously useful. Wish we had discovered that a little bit sooner. Been useful in this dungeon many times. At least we have it now. Here's the pit. It's in one of these rooms here. Fairly sure it's in the chest in one of these rooms. Forgot which one of them is what here. There are two Morhidrol chests and a couple of regular ones. I left it. We took some item out of the chest and we left the book behind instead. Now this is a word puzzle chest, which we don't need. This is probably another one. I think there were two of them in the same room. Yeah. Might be further on. Might be in this room then. We'll find it eventually, I think. I might have fallen down the pit. Don't tell anyone. When did we save? I was being careful to cast the light so we would see the pit. That worked out very well for us. This game is the pit. At least that dungeon is the pit. Save more often. Be a little bit smart. I actually think that the quality of the capture fixed itself a little bit when I was playing around with the capture card settings. I think it looks a little bit better. How does a penguin build its house? It glues it together. Not many igloo puns, that's one of them. It's terrible. Or at least pretty terrible. Yeah, not like that. Indeed. Now where on earth did we leave these chests lying around? Where are these items? How could we be so reckless? It's very hard sometimes in this game to figure out which items you actually need and which items are superfluous and you can just leave them behind to get space. This is one of those cases where we obviously accidentally left behind a very useful quest item. Back in another word-like puzzle. We're going out the other way. That's really not what we want to do. Fairly sure that somewhere within this area between the two pits is the chest that we're looking for. Just a question of where it is. Here is the other exit, but alas, it is actually not an exit, so you actually can't get out that way. I was so happy when I discovered it last stream, but as we found out, it's not actually an exit. This is the locked one. Contains nothing of value. Parvati sacrificed our life at least once, if not twice, to figure out that there's nothing of value in it. This is the word puzzle. That means that we're in the room where the two word puzzles were. Another one over there, right? Both of these were empty, right? Did I actually already go back and fetch these 10 books? Is that why we can't find them now? Did I actually do that or not? No, they're not here. Neither of them. Well, they are here somewhere. Just being a dunce, not finding them. Okay, we're nearly back. We started. The pit is around the corner here. Yeah. Was it actually on the other side of the pit? Might have been. Fine, I'll let you guys rest. Stop complaining. Why is Owen low? Owen stamina. Somewhere in this maze. Yeah, we are at this point, but COVID is doing a real number on Iceland at the moment. There are some restrictions being put back into place now, annoyingly enough. I suppose it's possible that I actually put them in one of the Moritral boxes. Maybe I did. It's really the only explanation I can think of. And there are going to be restrictions again. There is a 500 person gathering limit again. The masks are mandatory again. I can't really say it's a surprise because since the restrictions were lifted, things have been going only in one direction. People aren't really doing what they should be doing. They know perfectly well what they can and can't do, but they're doing all their own things anyway. I'm actually rather annoyed because I'm not a huge fan of these restrictions, but I would rather have some restrictions over a longer period of time and have to endure very strict restrictions even for a short time. Not a huge fan of the stringent requirements, and as things have been going, I haven't been I've been working from home since the 2-year-old is a little bit immunosuppressed. His immune system hasn't fully developed yet, and it's being slow and stubborn, so I really don't want him to get COVID at all. So we've been taking extra care that he doesn't get it. While the number of infections has basically been going up in a bell curve, we've mostly worked from home. This is the room with the non-Moritral boxes. That means that the Moritral boxes are here on the other side. Yeah, they're working on some sort of drug which might or might not work. Thing is that he hasn't really been accepting his childhood vaccinations. We had to redo some of them. So we're treating him very carefully. Anything that combats this disease is a major plus in my book. I don't care how it's done. There are a lot of vaccinated people here, but a good number of the people that have been ending up in hospital are in fact either have many underlying conditions or they're not vaccinated. There is always the occasional case where even if a person is vaccinated, they still get very sick with this. Yeah, I agree. It needs to go away. And at this point, I'd rather have some restrictions in place for maybe 6 to 9 months if we can just make this go away. instead of spending 5 years like this, always with it sort of buzzing around us. This is really the book that we were supposed to take with us. This is the Abbot's Journal. I think it contains information that we sort of need. A translation of an ancient account of the travels of an abbot from Malax across. The book was filled with stories and notes on mythology. Apparently the abbot had been looking for proof of the existence of a sword known as the Garda Revencia, a cursed blade which was often associated with the Moritrol. Shortly before the end of the journal, he related a curious tale. So I came onto the Abbey of Kilian, which stood onto the western fringe of the forest of Eledal, so near Almendar, and there was shown a fairy chest upon whose face were the runes to common unto the elven and Moritrol kin. A certain father then did turn the strange cylinders which were on the face of the chest, forming a word unfamiliar to me. Umbretal, but one which threw open the latches which bound closed the lid of the box. And within he brought a finely jeweled hilt, which he called the Gata. His father then told me it had come from a ruin of an ancient place, and since there was much misfortune come unto their abbey, and they willed it should be returned there for its eternal rest. He also did tell me other things strange and wondrous of the legend, saying a spell had been bound into a shell that would repair the blade which had long been broke away, describing this shell as one marked with an uneven surface of 10 misinformed lumps. Is this really the book that we want, or is it the other one that we left behind? What is this one? I don't know what this book really tells us, but this is the book that we found, so I guess now we get out of this place. We should probably at this point visit the temple again. See whether we can get further hints there. Maybe they can use this Abbot's Journal somehow. These pits really are super annoying. They're just there to annoy you. There's no other purpose. No, not really. I've seen a lot of people playing Darkest Dungeon 2, and I haven't made up my mind yet, but I don't think I like it very much. Sort of been buying on some streams. So I'm sure there are bits and pieces to like about it, but yeah, of course it is. It just came out, it's new. So I'm sure there are bits and pieces to like about it, but at this point I'm not a huge fan. I haven't really been playing my old save though, although I did have a good run there for a while. I think I was on week 12 or so, and I actually hadn't died many times. Slowly getting better, not dying, is a very important part of making it anywhere in the game. So is the as I've discovered, so is the part about rather giving up than actually trying to go ahead and lose characters and lose what little treasure you have. It's a better idea to just abandon the dungeon and have another go at a later date than it is to try to go on and see if you can manage to complete it. That's often doesn't work if you're in a bad spot, and it's better to back out than try. Have to swallow your pride with this game. That's just the way it is. The tough little cookie of a game. Probably why I actually like it quite a bit. I don't really see what Darkest Dungeon 2 adds. I don't like the visuals. And I really don't like the new stagecoach driving thing. That doesn't... Seems like trying to integrate Mario Kart into Darkest Dungeon. I don't really see the point. Hey there, Parky Bin, welcome in. We're backtracking, that's what's up. I left an item behind here. Which I wasn't supposed to do. But now I'm trying to make my way out of this dungeon again. This is a much easier interface sometimes to navigate. As long as you yeah, I was discussing Darkest Dungeon 2. I've been watching some people play it a little bit. I have some reservations about whether it's actually a good game or not. It seems a lot of the changes that they made are not necessarily for the better. That can also just be I'm trying to avoid falling down the pit of just not liking something because it's different from what I know, which is very common and easy to do. I sort of want to give it a little more time before I make up my mind about it. So far, I'm not a huge fan. This dungeon is such a maze. It's so easy to get lost here. We've basically done a full circle now. Which is not at all what we wanted to do. It might also just gain some sort of huge modding community and become a massive game. Who knows? Your favorite racer is Leper. Leper love. Where's the Leper love emote? Is this the exit? I think it is, yes. Okay, we at least found our way out. That's promising. Now we need to go back to that temple. I think that's next on the agenda. Might want to... We're running out of rations, which is a bad idea. Let's fix that right away. And let's sleep a bit. Now Owen is poisoned. Great. I'll take some healing. Oh. I got the follower emotes. Yes, you have some 5 new ones that you can use in chat. They were stopped by 2 men. You will go no further, one of the men commanded. Before any shall enter the temple of Banath, they must strip of all metals. Okay. They don't. They've already been approved. People were using them in here yesterday. That's weird. Not on mobile. Maybe it doesn't work on mobile yet. Okay, we will have to leave our weapons behind here, which is of course dumb. We will do it anyway. Let's see if we can actually... We're actually able to do that. Might actually be difficult. How could we do this? All this did was make them switch. I'm not actually sure we can pull this off. How do I get rid of them? Or can I even do so? Must be a way to have the game do this for us. The hour was sounded, clapping his hands over his ears. James looked centrally up at the brass bells as they passed underneath them, mourning the fact that he hadn't a bit of beeswax to block out the clanging noise. If the priest leading them took any notice, he made no sign. The lector of the Temple of Banath greeted them at the door to his study, a greying man with rounded features, patted each on the back as they passed inside to his study. "How may the servants of Banath be of service?" he asked. "I'm not certain," James said, taking a seat by the window. "We have a difficult journey ahead, and I was hoping that perhaps your god might have some insight into our predicament." Priest motioned for him to continue. Quickly, James relayed most of their tale with corrupt breaking occasionally to correct certain inaccuracies. The tale was at last finished. The lector was squinting at them. "I'm not sure how we could be of assistance to you," he said. "It is the place of the temple to give aid when possible, but it seems as if many of the things you are having difficulty with, you've brought up on yourself, or are matters that are beyond the reach of what I may do for you." Indeed. Now, if we can't remove the metals, how is it that we are able to do this? No further help, at least, to be had there. Much is obvious. Travel back a bit. Owen is still poisoned. Oh, he's doing okay now. Yeah. The barkeep is here. Might as well buy some food. Did find a new practice loot last stream, so we can definitely at least I think I put it somewhere. Back here, I'm fairly certain there's nothing to be gained by future chat here, but head back in here. How do you like Darkest Dungeon 2 Bargain Bin? Are you a fan? Perhaps haven't fully made up your mind. I hear that the Count isn't too thrilled with one of Eugene's suitors by the name of Navan de Santo. He doesn't like the man. Perfectly charming, handsome man, and if you haven't crossed him, but sellers if you think you're done something wrong to someone. Just cards, whiskers. I think rush. Okay. Nothing new to be added here. Nothing to be added here, at least. No, you don't like the kart racing bit? Dungeon Kart, the new extension to Mario Kart. It's a Mia, it's a Mario. Going in the wrong direction. something about this 3D interface that makes me constantly go back in the wrong direction. Again. Why is he constantly being poisoned? Must be something in the rations. Well, I've noticed that the chance of getting poisoned is increased a lot by having low rations. Spousal privileges. Very nice. What is it we're missing here? Obviously we're missing something. Feels if we're very, very close to finishing up chapter 3, there is something that we haven't figured out yet that we're missing. I'm certain this is the scoundrel, but how do we... Sleep till noon so we can enter the tavern. Yeah, I discovered the same. Will picked it as a subscriber Sunday game, so we'll be playing it on Sunday. It's super hard. Rob the gambler. I don't think it will be more than 30 minutes. It's a absolute pain in the ass. Yeah, being hard for the sake of being hard isn't really the point. But, some people like punishment. There's a whole genre behind that. I know this place. I stayed in this house a year ago while journeying to North Warden to see a friend. There was a beautiful young lady named Salindra living here. We got kind of friendly over supper, and in the middle of the night she snuck into my room. Woo-ha. Knocked on the door, beaming with anticipation. A moment later, a beautiful young woman answered, "Yes, can I, James?" Smile of recognition crossed her lips, but was quickly replaced with an expression of great concern. "I am." Before she could finish the sentence, she was brushed aside by two rather large hands, one of which curled into a rather large fist and hit James rather hard in the face. When his vision had cleared sufficiently, the woman stood over him. I'd like you to meet my husband. I've told him all about you. Yes, you have. Lovely. Not a fan of ours, I see. That's the jewelry shop. Let's sell some of the trinkets that we have. Was that it? I thought we had at least one more. Might have sold it before. Oh, this old game is certainly kicking my ass right now. Let's sign into the inn. Nice to get a decent night's rest for once. Now, this is one thing I really don't like about this game. Now, we want to buy rations. We only have one ration on Owen. The game refuses to let us add more. The only way to really get around that is to go outside and drop it into a bag and leave it there. Seems silly. Sometimes you can combine these rations and sometimes you can't, and I can't find any hard or fixed rule for when that is the case and when it is not. Not having much of any sort of luck here. We have fully restored our health. I guess that's nice. We have no idea what to do now. It's not all fun and games. Shoot some guards. Just healed, by the way. Annoyingly enough. One of them at least is running away. I'll let him have our hands full here. I'll let this one run away as well. entirely sure that's what he's going to do. Don't much mind at the moment. Nice shot. And one of them will get away. That's fine. Increased strength. How are we? Health. Borath didn't take a single hit. One didn't either. And James took one hit. Try another tactic to get by them. How do you suppose we do that? Should we go around this hill? Is that how we approach this? No. Not like this, that's for sure. The map seems to show a house. I don't know if there's a... We're just doing this wrong. Maybe there's another way to approach this. Missed twice in a row now. Three times in a row now. What the bowmanship is that? This is largely pointless though if we just keep going in circles in the same battle here. Some additional shovels. Might be able to combine those. No, we can't. And torch as well. Isn't there another house here as well? Yeah, there was. Question now remains, how do we approach this house without having to have these endless battles? Game sort of hints there is another way, but I can't quite see how we do that. This battle is significantly easier, and so was the last one. No idea why that is. But I'm fairly sure it never ends. So well, guys, not really all that tough. Use the opportunity to heal while the guy is just standing there, not really even trying to run away. Don't remember the game ever giving me a chance like that before. I was thinking we might sneak behind this here, but we keep ending up in the same spot. I have to walk as close to the mountain as I can, but doesn't really seem to work. keep having the same battle again and again. I'll just have Owen heal. Doesn't really need to be in any of these battles. These aren't particularly difficult opponents. Not a question of whether we actually need to be doing this or not. I don't think we actually need to be doing so. Over here. This game could really add the sort of system that Jagged Alliance 2 has, where you can give multi-turn commands. If you want to go to a specific place, you can just instruct the game to do so, and it will finish your turn points for one game and then do the rest of it next turn. Sort of sneaking around the back now. It's sort of worked, but not really. What's funny is that I think we've actually been able to do this before. Just don't remember how we did it. Tired of this. Very tired of this stuff. These battles. Pointless. They do very little for us in any way. So not even difficult enough opponents for us to really get any sort of meaningful experience from beating them. Mostly just annoying. What we want to do is we want to get... It's almost unbearably annoying. If we were making any sort of progress, I wouldn't mind, but we're not. Really not making any progress at all. Always the same amount of these bad guys. This is always the same battle. It's just happening again and again. Okay, we'll try this trick again. The only way I've seen so far, which sort of works, to roll back here. Try to approach this house from this side. Maybe we can. Maybe it's possible to... There isn't even a way to... There isn't even a way to exit out of these battles. Sort of auto-fight them like this. Computer does a worse job than we would do. This is utterly pointless, all of it. Computer is utterly screwing this up. Once we lose, we always get sent back to the same place, sort of as a punishment. Definitely not doing too hot. Have to do a lot of rusting. We decide to try to recover from this. Can. Tough. It's tough. 48k RAM, welcome in. Very tough, actually. I think we have all the ingredients to finish up chapter 3, but we're missing some piece of the puzzle. It's eluding us at the moment. Game is being extra annoying with these endless fights as well. Really not gaining too much ground in them, and are largely just doing the same dumb thing over and over again. Keep thinking we might be able to somehow sneak into that house, but it's absolutely surrounded. I'm so tired of these fights. This one isn't all that hard. Apparently all of them running away, but Owen is basically near death. He's taking so much beating. I think we should count our losses at this point and head back from here. I don't think we're going to get very far. That's the store again, which I don't remember which way we went through this village last time. It's the Temple of Kahuli. What do you call a fat psychic? Fortune teller. Okay, they were escorted to the lecturer's chambers. It's not terrible, it's great. Seated behind a large mahogany desk was a man of middle years, the hair graying at his temples, sweeping back from a wide tanned forehead. Outstanding emotion for them to take seats. I have very little time this morning, the lecturer said. Please make whatever request you have as parent. We should go follow 48k RAM and for some Atari 8-bit
Or
glory and the occasional tech stream as well. Many great streamers in this chat. Bargain Bin is here. Will Torres is a great streamer, of course. You know all of this already if you're here regularly. That suits me fine. We're looking for a band of murderers, James said. They killed a squad of men sent from Bastira on the first advisor's orders to investigate the possible activities of Nighthawks in Romney. The idea occurred to me while we were standing in the meditation chambers. The Temple of Kahuli might know something of it. I am listening, he replied gravely. When I was studying under Father Timothy in the Temple of Astron and Krondor, James said, I learned quite a bit about the various temples and their gods. As I recalled, Kahuli is the god of revenge. Justice, the lector snapped. Not revenge. If one is innocent, he has nothing to fear from the howler of the fugitives. If one has violated the wise strictures of our gods and eluded punishment, however, we are the hounds that bay at his heels. There is no place one can run to that we cannot sniff out. James nodded. A well-known fact, but it's also well known that the Temple of Kahuli hires assassins on occasions to do the sniffing. If you imply that we hired the guild of assassins to kill the men in Bastira, it is not so. We've had no dealings with the Hawks of the Night for several months. It may well be that we have a common cause at the moment. He stopped for a moment as if considering something, then continued slowly. They have become churlish. They no longer follow the codes of piety which we lay out for the behavior of our faithful. They have not paid the tithe in a great deal of time. We follow silent pizza. What does one silence a pizza, by the way? You don't eat it. Is that the way to silence it? We wish to separate them from our ranks, but no protectors of the faith will challenge them. James leaned across the desk. I want the Nighthawks lector. Tell me the name of the man who leads them and where he may be found, and we both can profit from an end to them. Okay, this is possibly what we were missing. The lector laughed, a dark, rumbling laugh that had nothing of humor in it. I wish that it were that easy. Kahuli, how I wish. But when the Nighthawks swore their oath to the temple, they required of us a holy oath to Kahuli himself, that their identities could never be revealed to any that were not of the temple itself. That's a nice typo there, Eva. Yeah, generally, if the pizza isn't silent anymore for TKM, you probably shouldn't be eating it, or it's slightly undercooked. Either or both could be true. Okay, it required a holy oath to Kahuli that their identities could never be revealed to any that were not of the temple. You would have to be at least a protector of the faith before I could even think of giving the name of whomever you seek.
I'm getting laughs.
Yeah.
Maybe I should
Thanks for the host for the
Okay.
I see. James sat back in his chair, his eyes full of brooding. How would we become protectors? You would have to study with a prelate who lives nearby and learn the codes of the PT, the lector said, a clever smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Though I will warn you, the house is well protected. There are many who do perceive us as dispensers of revenge and attempt to save themselves peremptorily. Thanks for the host, Eva, as well. I will say this, if you can come to the temple and have performed even one of the acts of piety that the lector teaches you, I think I can see to it that you're made protectors of the faith. Will you tell us where to find the Nighthawks? These Nighthawks, James asked. The priest smiled. Most certainly. Okay. Okay. Let's bless the armor. Can't bless the crossbows. we can certainly bless both the armor and the
I'm getting
weapons.
laughs.
Yeah.
Maybe I should host the show.
Thanks for the host, Will Torres, as well. Okay, now we know what to do. We have a plan. Having a plan is half of being able to move forward here. Let's hike back into the town. Where was the inn again? It's here somewhere. Are you in here? Where? That's the Kahuli. I'm not familiar with the worshippers of Kahuli. Generally speaking, Banath and Astron are more popular with the people in Krondor. It's difficult to publicly worship a god dedicated to revenge, almost as hard to worship, I imagine, as the goddess of death. People naturally assume when you begin pilgrimage on a regular basis that you have a score you wish to settle, which more often than not is true. They blind themselves to the fact that while Kahuli is sometimes called a pursuer, he is also known as the judge of truth. You can't get justice anywhere else, people turn to Kahuli. And who do you wish to avenge? Well, myself, naturally, it's been some time since I've been to the temple, or the problem pretty much solved itself and I didn't need divine intervention anymore, and so it was easier to stay away than pay the tithe. Do you remember any of their codes of piety? The priest mentioned them and I was curious what they were. I tried to forget them. I can only remember the first one, and it had something to do with subjugation of the will, if I remember correctly. When you join the temple, you have to renounce all ties to the king and kingdom. That's why you'll find that there aren't any nobility in the temple. Of course, when you can command a private army, why bother? Okay. How are we doing on rations? Really doing okay. Let's this is all the same quest. It's all about finding the leader of the Nighthawks. That's really what chapter 3 was about, and all the bits and pieces we've done so far on chapter 3 have all tied to this one. It's the end of chapter 3 that we haven't managed yet. We haven't found that leader. I have a feeling it's that Navan guy. Lacking some sort of proof that it really is. It is very odd looking, yes. Not a huge fan, but what kind of game are you playing? His eyes would look more like Sliss. The magician replied slowly. Not a game. He turned to stare at Owen. If you can answer 3 questions, I will give you my staff. Or fail this little test, and I shall extract the payment in gold. Kid, try your luck. Sure. Excellent, said the sorcerer. Come, sit before me, we shall begin. Owen did as he was instructed, much to his chagrin. Of Gorath sat down quietly nearby, one hand placed strategically on the handle of his sword. The first question, Owen, is this: our great and mighty park claims to know magic of the greater path and magic of the lesser path. Is this truly possible? Yes. Very good, my friend. Shola muttered. You have but 2 questions remaining. Shifted in his chair, shuffled through some papers on his desk, then continued. Dragon Lords once ruled this planet. One of those Valhar Dragon called himself Lord of the Eagles. Do I tell the truth of this? Okay. Guess we better how much gold did we lose? We lost a lot of gold. Okay, we'll restore. At least we know what it is that we need to do. Where did we save? Where are we? Over here. In this pile of rubble. We now need to know at least what it is that we need to do. We need to go to this temple. Talk to the priest. Then we need to bless our armor again. We know all we need to know now. And then we go back to town. We also need to rest quite a bit. Let's snub on. Ask him about the Kahuli again. I'm gonna read all of that again. Ammo. That's the tavern. Might visit it on the way back. I'm fairly sure we did not get this before. So it has something to do with going to the temple. Yes. Yes. No. You have answered correctly once again, said the sorcerer. His smile turned icy. Now only one question remains. Answer it correctly. You shall have my staff. Arthur looked at the magician coldly, not liking the evil fire that seemed to be erupting on his face. Suddenly Owen began to shout, "My eyes! What have you done to my eyes, you black demon? I can't see." In an instant, Cora sprang to his feet, drawing his sword. "Wait, I haven't done anything to your eyes," sputtered the startled Cyril. "Can't you see me?" He shouted, waving his hands in the air wildly. Owen smiled broadly. "I'm sorry, my mistake. Yes, I can see you just fine." He winked at the sorcerer. "Foolish me, and I thought your last question was going to be hard, perhaps even impossible to answer." Without waiting for a response, he grabbed the lightning staff and began headed for the door. "Come on," he shouted over his shoulder. "We better leave now." Yes, we borrowed that one. James scowled. As much as I like to keep what we found, the usual inventory mishaps. I assume this is a much greater stuff. We do need to make some room. Constantly running out of room in this game. Let's leave. I'm not sure whether we can actually leave these. We can definitely leave this book. We don't need this book. We can this book over here. And can we fit this? Probably takes up quite a bit of space. I want to move the lockpicks over as well. Not enough space. No, still not enough space. How much space do we actually need? The answer to that question is a lot. We need a lot of space. Made of light birch, the staff would be easy to swing should the need arise. Doubtless, it had been put to magical uses as well. Several lightning sigils were burned along its wavering length at points of their bolts, originating from a small crystal globe fixed to the knobby head of the staff. Assume this is also a weapon. Does 7+ strength on a swing with an accuracy of 10+ skill. This does -7+ strength with an accuracy. It does a decent job with the swing. Yeah, it's a far better weapon than this one is. Because this one has absolutely no magical abilities whatsoever. Throw it in the bag, freeing up the space again. And this is a major upgrade. Now, how do we approach that house? We have to use a potion to reduce the sound of our steps to sneak past somehow. Is that how we're supposed to do this? I think these shoes are actually meant for that particular purpose. We've never actually used them, but now might actually be the time to do so. Where was the tavern again? The tavern was here somewhere. Just closed when we arrived earlier. Might have been here. It's now on. I want to talk to you right now. But I'm pretty sure you're pure evil. Headed in the wrong direction, I think. Yeah, we are. I am glad to see you once again, but as yet cannot be inducted as protectors of the faith. You must perform one of the acts of piety. There is simply no other way that I can help you. The laws of our temple are very specific and binding. Which act would be the best? James asked, at a loss to know what to do. The rector shook his head. It's not a question of best or easiest. These things vary from person to person, though many may find that one or another option simply may not be open to them through conflicting oaths of practicality. Again, I say to you, go and visit the prelate. He's the only man that will be any use of you. This, he lives very close by. I know that for a fact that he lives very close by. The question is, we can't approach. The problem is, we can't approach his house. So, try anyway. enjoy good night's sleep and fully restore our health. I have a feeling we're going to need it. Now, how do we sneak up to this house? Could we try these lovely shoes? There were armed guards in front of the house. We are on official business, called James. Placing a hand on his weapon, one of the guards shot back. On whose authority? On authority of the Prince of Krondor, James said, matter-of-factly. We were sent by the priest of the Temple of Kahuli. Okay. Apparently satisfied with his answer, the guards moved aside and let them pass. Okay. We made it all the way there. There were strange markings on the door. James studied the symbol through the questioning eye, then knocked loudly. The man who came to the door introduced himself as prelate of the Temple of Kahuli. I am not well liked by the plain ones, he said. They do not understand the supreme justice of my actions. Those who break the rule of law must suffer the divine consequences of their behavior. Prelate went on to tell them of his experiences while trying to become prelate and of the codes of piety, so strictly enforced by the local temple. Nodding politely, James asked, "What can you tell us of these codes?" Recognizing their interest, he countered the question with one of his own. "If you would care to make a donation to the temple, say 50 sovereigns, I think I could be persuaded to reveal them to you. Will you pay?" Yeah, 50 gold, nothing. James handed the prelate 50 gold sovereigns. "The Temple of Kahuli thanks you," he said. "Now please follow me and I shall teach you of the codes of piety." Funny how everything costs every time. The prelate led them into a small room. He stood behind a makeshift altar and spoke, sometimes ranted about the great god, Kahuli, warrior god of vengeance, unravel mysteries into truth. They listened without much interest until at last he began to speak of the pious code. Subjugation of the will, he began. "None shall be considered a true follower of Kahuli without first renouncing all ties to the king and country." James glanced about the room nervously as the prelate continued. "Mortification of the flesh, none shall be allowed to entry to the temple of Kahuli until they have cleansed themselves of all appetites of the flesh, purified themselves for the intervention of Kahuli's will. Finally, subordination of service. None shall do service to Kahuli without first proving their loyalty by passing the water curtain and praying to Kahuli for one full cycle of the seasons." He continued his sermon for nearly an hour, but revealed little of interest. At last he was finished and they were allowed to leave. How does this help us at all? What's our next move here? How do we perform one of the acts of piety? What is it that we need to do here? We sort of know what to do, but we don't know how to do it. Really the problem here right now. For 50 gold, he told us basically nothing. Yeah, later. Eva, thanks for coming in. Thanks for modding. Sleep well. Have an excellent rest of your night. Okay. Nothing more to be gained from this. What's next on the agenda? Do we go back now to the other temple down the road? Is that what we do next? We do need to figure out exactly what it is that we need to do here. This is the other village. Pavel Keep might be worth it to see if we have additional talking points. So knock. This is different. The knock was answered by a servant. Yes, judging by the disarray of her hair and the night shift which the girl was wearing, the servant had likely been disturbed from an otherwise restful sleep. Sorry to have wakened you, James apologized. Uncle Val is away at the moment and his daughter Eugene is abed, the girl said, apparently tried to forestall any further questions. I'm afraid you will have to come calling at a decent hour. Goodbye. Wait, jamming his foot in the door before it swung closed. James exhaled with pain as his foot was caught in the jam. Where is it that the count has gone? Out, the girl said angrily. Sometimes goes hunting at night on the original lands of the keep, and we might find him there. The girl shrugged, doubtful, and I wouldn't advise trying. He keeps a guard on his land out for poachers. Sometimes they attack without asking questions. And James' foot out of the jam, the servant girl bid them to go away and close the door. Okay. It's new. Where's the dude? Not really running into anyone here. Probably have finite time to do this, so restore the save we just made. Didn't run into him on our way in here. Oh, that's strange. See him about either. In fact, we don't really see anyone. We already searched out that hollow tree trunk. Can't find the consigliere though. Suppose we could go back now that it's morning. See, he's up and about. That's Eugene, no new talking points with her. Maybe this is just the difference between James roused the occupants. The door cracked open with a small squeak, just enough space to allow a pale-eyed girl in a dust-caked skirt to peek out at them. She studied them with a doubtful look, hesitant to let the strangers in. Yes, what is it? Stepping out, the senior opened peered at the girl with a puzzled expression, then brightened Miri. It's okay, they may look a little rough, but they're with me. Without a word, the servant girl stepped out of the way, allowing the three of them to follow her into the foyer of the manor. Excusing herself, she scurried off to fetch her master, who was located in the rear apartment. Following what sounded like a distant argument, a dark-eyed man stepped into the room. A look of annoyance sat in his features. Yeah. We have a new talking point. Do you know anything about the Temple of Kahuli? We were talking to them earlier and they seem to have this strict code of behavior that they ask their followers to adhere to. You said you were a member of the Temple of Kahuli. The temple isn't as stringent as it appears from the outside, so long as they collect their tithes from their worshippers. I hope this year the collectors are a little brighter than the ones they've sent in years past. They almost never found a tithe I hid for them the year previous. Yeah, we need to take a little kipper here. So we hinted that we might have left them attacked somewhere, probably in that tree trunk that we already found. I guess at least. Might need to buy some rations. We do pretty much out. All this endless wandering about really isn't doing wonders for our finances, but we have made some progress. Now I want to go back to that temple. See if we run into someone on the way there. Nothing to be gained here, at least. Let's Caval keep. Don't really need to go in there again. wandering about. I think rush. Nothing to be gained here. Little additional information, but it's really not very much. I doubt that it helps us. What is it exactly we're supposed to do here? Not getting any additional information anywhere. This is the temple. Don't think that really is any point in going any further in this direction at this point in time. By passing the water curtain and praying to Kahuli for one full cycle of the seasons. Is that in reference to the dungeon? Water curtains, are those the waterfalls? Must be, right? What else could it possibly be alluding to? Goodbye. Guess we should better go back to that dungeon and do a full and thorough search. See if we left any sort of item behind there or can do anything there now that we couldn't before, because now we've completed more of the story. It's possible that something else has opened to us inside the dungeon. Wasn't open to us before. It's really just a hunch, but I think it's the next thing to do. We spent an absolute eternity in that dungeon, so I'm not really looking forward to going back there again, but don't see that we have much choice. Take us about 2 days or so to actually walk there. What are these houses back there? We've been there before. All they do is sleep. Yeah, it's the farm that's on the outskirts here. Fine. See the bigger map again, going in the right direction at least. It's a good idea. It's not much further back then. It's roughly here. Into the waterfall. Oh, it was difficult to gain access to this dungeon. We needed that chess piece to be able to do so. Seems to be the solution to most of the problems here. We certainly faced a lot of difficult battles in here. Most difficult that we've seen in the game so far, at least. Probably would have done better with this wand that we now have. Not really worry about that now, can we? Now, these were really the most difficult battles in the game. Took place exactly here. These rooms were absolutely filled with bad guys. So, go through these rooms one by one and see if we left something behind we might need right now. Actually, don't think we did, but we must be missing something because we're definitely not getting anywhere. Use that little spell to find any treasure chests. It does show everything though, regardless of whether it actually has been opened or not, which is a bit annoying, but it's still helpful. There's an object over here. This is where we swing across. I think we already went through these original boxes many times, but that's just an original lamprey we probably left behind. It's probably our own weapon that we replaced with a better one. It's not some sort of quest item. This is the other entrance to this bit. The other pit. Not Brad though, it's a different pit. Jennifer Aniston is nowhere to be seen. This particular chest is still locked. Might try my hand at it's as I remember, there's nothing of value inside it. It's near impossible to actually open it without taking this damage, and simply not worth it for stuff that's in it. I think we already took this damage once, and what's actually in this chest is something that we left in it. So I don't think there's any point in doing this. This is the other way out. Sort of wondering if I can do something here. This seems to be a dead end. There's no way to get through this. This isn't a way out of here, it seems. What worries me most is that we might not have done things in the right order and that we're locked in here. That would be a terrible fate, worse than death in this game, for sure. This door we can't access. I'm fairly sure that's by design, because there is nothing that we have on us enables us to open this door. We can't take it either. So our price for completing this is probably in there, and it's probably that weapon that was hinted at. That seems very likely. Rope. We already took both of the box from this chest. I think the other one is empty as well. Here it is. Both of these are empty. We're now gone full circle, pretty much back at the... We went in the wrong direction as well. Back now. This is at that end, right? Yeah, yes. We go back here, it's just a pit on the other side. Close to it, at least. Rest. At least it will be past the light spell. Over the pit we go. Again. Doesn't really matter in which way we go. There's a circle here. Was a chest in one of these, as I remember. It is. This was one of those marital boxes. It's just an old crossbow. There's a box in here. shimmering field that reaches far, yet it has no tracks and is crossed without paths. I forget what this one was. What was this one again? Yeah, this one was Ocean. Not the publishing house. The other one. And this one, of course, is also empty. This is a dead end here. Or is it not? No, it's not. Leads back the other way. Why is this? It's weird that this is pretty much the only corpse that's in here. Is empty. No chest in here. There is a chest in this room, however. Let's go in here. Look around. Yeah, good night for the AK ramp. Thanks for coming in. It's mostly boring at this point. I'm trying to what was this one again? I've forgotten about this one as well. We figured all of these out. To look it up. This one is Dispute. This one actually does have a Sarix Bane in it. Might poach, but it's not. Sadly, an item that we need. Annoyingly enough. Now, this is the other exit that we can't exit. This is the locked chest. These are the two empty ones. These are the two Morito boxes next to it. This is the door that we can't get through. There's obviously a chest behind that door that we can't access. These are the three chests that we found so far. This is the one that was in the corridor. No point in going further in this direction, really. Nothing to be had here. There isn't even a decent fight here anymore. Really nothing to do here. I was hoping that we had simply forgotten something. There's nothing in this room. No chest at all. Can't see any items or anything that could be of use to us either. This is where we came in. If the whole point was spending a season behind a waterfall, we've most definitely done that. And so much time in this dungeon. This is the only one that we haven't reopened. I think that was the last of all the chests that were in here. We still haven't found any item. So that's interesting. Can't use this item. We've already used this one. It's the poison we found at some point. The powder bag. This is some sort of item that we haven't tried out. Don't know what it does. Doesn't want to waste it. Probably means that it's meant to be used in battle. Okay, we definitely done our bit here. It's quite possible that this ring is used for casting the light. Seems very bright here at the moment. Let's go back up here. Oh, I want to be facing this way. Cast the spell one more time. I'm almost 100% certain that we've double and triple checked every single thing in here. Yeah, we have. Yeah, just check this one. Okay, let's head out of here. Maybe all we needed to do was go into this dungeon after completing the bits that we had already completed just before. There's nothing else anywhere here. Nothing here. Rope. Well, I'm sort of stuck at this point in time. We've figured out that we need to perform some sort of act of piety to gain the trust of the clerics at the temple. To figure out who the leader of the Nighthawks is, but struggling to see what exactly it is that we need to do. We've completed the dungeon, and there's nothing left in there. I've gone back up there and picked up everything that we might potentially have left behind. Gone over it multiple times. I've been to every place again. Asked anyone that might volunteer any sort of information, all the possible questions that we could have asked. Still are no closer to finishing chapter 3. Something missing, and I can't quite figure out what it is. Sadly enough. It's Eugene again. No new conversation pieces with her, as expected, really. Do we know anything? We already asked him about this. I just want to read it over again. Temple isn't as stringent as it appears from the outside, so long as they collect their tithes from their worshippers. Hope this year their collectors are a little brighter than the ones they've sent in years past. They almost never found the tithe I hid for them the year previous. Sort of hints that he might have left something on the outside for us to pick up. Not exactly though where it would potentially be or what it could be. This game is being a tough cookie right now. And I'm sure we'll eventually figure this out. guess I better navigate with my eyes open here, see if I could spot something. Usually to find all of these tiny little chests and things lying around here. Yeah, we already finished the dungeon, which really was quite a bit of a challenge, must be said. We managed that, which is good. This game sort of alternates between difficult battles and difficult puzzles, and this is where this is the difficult puzzle bit that we're stuck with now. The battles were certainly difficult, but if anything, the puzzles are more difficult. They get it's just so easy to miss a single hint somewhere. Something somewhere that we haven't done. So much back and forth. Just remains of someone setting up camp here. We've almost spent an entire pack of rations just going back and forth here. That's now one. I'm almost certain this guy is an a-hole, but we can't do anything about it because we don't have any proof. Nothing to do here, I believe. Exhausted the conversation with all of these guys and gals. This tavern. Yeah, that's where we got the staff. Through rather dubious means, it must be said. Did get it though. It's the jewelry shop. There's the temple. We gain nothing by going in here and listening to this speech again, but already gone and visited the guy that he wanted us to visit to learn about the various things that we could do. Sort of puzzle together what it is that we need to do. That's the prelate. Now we need to renounce all ties to king and country. How on earth are we supposed to do that? None shall be allowed entry to the temple of Kahuli until they have cleansed themselves of all appetites. The flesh purify themselves. I'm fairly sure we've already done this with the where it talks about passing the water curtain and praying to Kahuli. That's probably the waterfall dungeon. But what is the talk of the appetite? What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to be hungry. Is that something that we need to do? We're can't do anything about king and country. We'll have to I think we'll just have to make up some story about that. But what is it that we do here? Is it we just drop all the food outside or go in without the food? Is that the Gladly, if that's what it takes, we can buy more food. Do we still have any food on us? Actually think we do. Where's my bag? It's here. Our food is still here. What I'll do is before we go any further with this nonsense, I'll save and let's now we're definitely starving. Is this enough? James stumbled, cursing oaths that seemed far from appropriate within the hallowed temple walls. He followed the priest robed in light grey. Behind him, Owen and Gorath seemed similarly pained, but all made it well enough to the lector's study. Pushing their way into the oak-paneled room, they took their seats and waited. In a few moments, the lector arrived, arrayed in his dark robes of office. Looking at all their faces, he nodded with a certain grim satisfaction. "You have chosen the mortification of the flesh," he said, "an admirable act of pity. It is enough." "Is it really?" James nodded. "Good. And tell me about the Guild of Assassins." In a moment, stepping back to the door, he whispered to the priest who waited outside. Footsteps hurried off into the distance. "Master will bring rations for you. You will be of little use against Navon and his band without your strength." James sat forward in his chair. I knew it. I knew it was this guy. "Navon who?" Navon the sound of the lector said, emphasizing each syllable. "He lives here in Canting Rush, poses as a traveling merchant. That gives him the excuse he needs to cover the strange visitors he has from time to time. He leads the night hawks, but the time has come for the end of the Guild of Assassins." "Agreed," James said, wobbling to his feet. "We appreciate your help." "Wait," the lector leveled to stare at them. "As Kahuli has come to your aid, as protectors of the faith, you must now aid us. It is your responsibility now to slay him. He is excommunicate of the Temple of Kahuli. His life is forbid." "Didn't mention this in the bargain before," James said. "Shall we be expecting other demands of you later?" priest shook his head. Only this, you may do as you please thereafter. Oh, I would warn you always to tread carefully from this day forth when dealing with Kahuli. You are now in our eyes the arm of a tireless pursuer. Time for a burger. That's probably... Oh. I absolutely stuffed us with food, so I guess we don't really need these rations, but we'll take them anyway. Pretty much gave us as much rations as we could carry. It's time to save. That was actual progress. Let's go kick his ass. That's the easy part. How can Nevantesanto be of assistance to you? Now you could die. On behalf of the Temple of Kahuli, I inform you that you are now excommunicate. They formally have renounced their ties to the Guild of Assassins and will announce the identities of all who belong to it. Our night talks are finished, Navon. Despite the request I murder you, I will let you live if you tell me where I can find the Morital communiques concerning the attack. A lie, senor, and you know it. You'll have my guts for killing those men in Romney whether I tell you or not. Since you first arrived looking for the night talks, I've been watching you. For years I've heard tales about Jimmy the Hand from the man who survived your night talk purchase in Krondor. He told very impressive tales about you. Now it's time to see if you can match a true night talk in combat. Now I ripped off his tunic. Oh my, it's getting spicy. Beneath he wore the familiar uniform of the Guild of Death, a golden hawk emblazoned on a black gambeson. Ordinarily I do not dress so heavily, he said with a grin, withdrawing his weapon. You interrupted some business I was planning to take care of. You missed, you piece of shit. Take a poisonous arrow. And please enjoy a maximum strength flame cast to the chest. That was a bad miss. Not engage this guy in hand-to-hand combat unless I absolutely have to. So I will throw everything I have at him. Battle was won. Search the body for supplies. Indeed. What do you have on you? Piece of shit. Now, what do we have here? Lots and lots of things. Some nice jewelry. More flame root oil. Where was the rest of it? It was here. Should be able to combine those two. Can. Now we have 10 of them. That's nice. And these are new quarrels. Enchanted quarrels. Archers instantly knew it on the sight. Flights misaligned to the shaft had malformed. Trying to reach it to allow level flight was a disgrace to any who crafted arrows. And yet the enchantment worked into the misshapen bolt by its sorcerer's maker made it a peerless quarrel. Has 30 plus crossbow worth of damage and has an accuracy of 20 crossbow plus skill. This is an amazing quarrel. Leave these. and take these instead. Also a note here, which we'll have to move into our inventory to be able to read. There it is. Another Surani crossbow in slightly better nick than our own. So swap them. Can't be enchanted anyway. Some sort of sword as well. Greatsword, inspired by the lighter laminated blade carried by the Surani during the Rift War. The Alma Greatsword was a terror in battle, double spurs jutted from the base of its flamboyant style blade, and its haft had been fitted with a heavy pommel to allow it to be thrust like a rapier. It can't be worn by him, no. It does 36 plus strength and 10 plus skill. Does more damage. And it's also poisoned. That one swung, it does 52 plus strength. Which really is a lot. With a greater accuracy. And it could also be blessed. We swap these. Or is it this one we swap? $29 and $42 versus 36 and 52. 10 and 0 versus 15 plus 5. This one is more accurate, which for our good friend James is actually pretty desirable. This one is not as good of a weapon. I think this is the right choice. Just need a way to actually get rid of this. Dragon plate armor. Fantastic armor. $55. This is 25. This is 30. Sorry. Sometimes very difficult when they refuse to let go of their weapons like this. It almost seems stupid. Might need to do something like this. Be able to drag this. Still refuses to do this. Now we can do this. Then we can swap them. Then we can move this. Seems kind of dumb, but it's sort of what you need to do. We have one that is had more use. Yes, we do. 96. At 100%. Might need another armorer's hammer at some point. 16 charges, 18 charges. We're gonna need this key. I'll take this with us as well. Leave this. We already have a few of those. Where are they? No, we used them. Only take one of them. We don't really need this many of them. Read this note, Navon. I'm concerned about Count Corvallis' increasing patrols in the area, and I think he will soon discover the entrance behind the waterfall. I know you don't credit him with much intelligence, but his patrol may accidentally follow one of Delican's envoys. Please return south of Covered Keep as soon as possible. Leave this note. Don't really need it again. Fairly sure that the key that was on this guy belongs to that door behind the waterfall. Almost certain it does. It's a very peculiar little key. That was great fun. Finally, some decent progress. Going to find the jewelry store again and sell this jewel that we have. Get rid of it. The inventory. Where are we going? Going in the wrong direction. We're going the wrong way. Head back here. I can never remember whether the jewelry store is before or after, but I actually think it's this one. It is. $1,300 sovereigns. It's quite a bit. Quite the haul. So things are looking up for our little party. I haven't quite completed chapter 3 though. Something that I still do. The answer to that probably lies in that final door and the waterhole, the waterfall dungeon. It's a track all the way over there once again. So we've done many times before. Probably have to go back and visit the count once we get rid of these guys. We'll probably have done some good there. Might get some additional help by doing so. There's the path behind the waterfall. I really think we should investigate further, yes. And there. Yes, we shall. Let's use the ring. How many ropes do we have? We have 12 ropes, that's fine. Did we already use the ring? No, we didn't. Did now, though. And we need to... There are two paths to going here. This is one of them. slightly shorter. Go over here. Do a turn. Go through these 2 rooms. Go here. And turn here. And this is where we find the pit. We need to cross with the rope. Best to use the spyglass now. There's the door. You can see the chest there, despite us never having been there. So we know exactly where it is we're going. Go here. Here. And down here. Right. There's Jim Morrison of the doors. We do have a brand new key, which is this one. And of course it opens the door. What's behind door number 2? Lovely little room. Nothing in it except this chest. A battle inside anywhere. Should probably cast the Scent of Sarek here. It's a more lethal chest. Of course it is. This engulfing thing is strange indeed. The greater it grows, the less you see. I would like to think this was Og, but that's not. It's never 8 letters. Starts with a T, a G, a D, or an A. It's not Smoke either. That would only be 5 characters. Any ideas, guys? Welcome to drop a hint here. I will eventually look it up, but I don't get any hints, so I'm not about to get trapped on this right now. This game is difficult enough. Is it darkness? Might be darkness. It's darkness. There might be a tantrum, yeah. That's not a terrible guess either, but it's darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Spiders scurried out of the open chest, careful to avoid the miniature albino menaces. James snatched a fresh-looking scroll out of the box and unrolled it on the floor. As his dark eyes darted across the page, his lips moved in an incantation of places, names, figures, and dates. Northward, James whispered, the attack will come at Northward very soon. But this is all wrong. What is it? Goroth asked, also bending to see the page. These figures, if Delacan takes a force this small to Northwarden, he hasn't a hope of taking the castle. Far too few soldiers, Baron Gabble will maul him unless Delacan can bring something serious to bear. What could the Moridrol have? Maybe the Nighthawks have infiltrated the castle, Owen said. Why else would they be so helpful to the Moridrol unless their own necks were on the line too? Hailing, James suddenly snatched an inkhorn from his pack and began to scribble an addendum to the Nighthawk note. It is very important that this note reach Arutha, although you were not told this. He has stationed an army outside of the Dimwood. We'll wait my word about the attack, James said, finishing his note. Fixing his gaze on Goroth, he handed it firmly over. I want you to make sure that it gets there. I'm going to have to trust you. Owen gaped. But what about? I've got to go to Northwarden. If there are Nighthawks in Baron Gabbett's castle, we stand a good chance of losing it in an attack. I have to ensure that doesn't happen. Remember, Arutha is outside the Dimwood forest near Sethanon. When you give him the note, tell him there's a party at Mother's. What? Owen sputtered. Just do it. I haven't got time to explain. Good luck to both of you. It's a party at Mother's? Impressive. In a moment the senior was gone, his shadows chasing after him down the long dark tunnel. An hour later Owen yawned expansively, his vision growing dim with each step taking further down the road. Next to him Goroth trudged without complaint, his eyes fixed on the dusty cow track. Enough, Owen murmured. I think my legs are going to crumple. We can't reach Arutha tonight. Let's stop for a while. Quiet, Goroth snapped, seizing Owen by the arm. Beneath his hood, his feral eyes glowed like blood-tinged emeralds. Someone's near. Abruptly, patches of darkness detached themselves from the woods, ambled into the pale moonlight, hurled onto the roadbed. In the shadows, arrow points gleamed, aligned in deadly sights, quivered. Motion video. As much as I would enjoy delivering your carcass to Delacan, I will reserve the pleasure of your execution for him. Do not move, Goroth, you are completely surrounded. Chapter 4. Marked for Death. The war drums had begun at dawn. Stalking quietly the corridors of the ancient fortress, Narab carried a witch light to illuminate his way. As he approached the doors to the great hall, two Moridrol guards dressed in full battle regalia stood away. They made no sound as he whisked past nor blinked at the sight of him. Greetings, Narab, a cold voice called from the throne. It has long been since I've seen your face in Sarsagoth. Have you grown bolder or more the fool? Narab knelt at the base of the throne and kissed Delacan's foot. That is for you to decide. If my words are not your liking, then my life is yours. It is already mine. Delacan's wolfish eyes blazed in the darkness. Speak, he commanded. I've just returned from a journey into the kingdom. I bring a prize. I have no interest in valueless baubles. This is no bauble, Narab said, cutting off Delacan, and I think you will find it is of great value. I would have named this thing. Yes, my lord. Its name is Goroth. Narab sneered pridefully as he awaited his leader's praise, awaited the words that would restore his place in Moridrol favor and rescind the order of death on his head. Perhaps he would even have a place among the new lords. Delacan lunged from his throne, his razor-edged gauntlet tilling a bloody seam across Narab's face as he lashed him backwards. You've wrecked everything, you dog, Delacan bellowed. But I brought back the enemy of the Northlands, Narab sputtered, blood dripping from his torn lips. With Goroth captive, we can proceed with our... You know nothing. Narab retreated, suddenly aware of it, that his efforts were wasted, that its oath of loyalty meant nothing to his hateful lord. Resolutely he stifled a flash of pain as the Moridrol leader thundered towards the door. What of my life, Narab whispered. Halting, Delacan turned and hissed. It is forfeit. Owen didn't want to be awake. Perhaps it was the drugs that had given him or the endless walking that he'd done in the past month and a half. All he could think about was sleeping now, that restful non-existence that interrupted the beatings and the hauling and the exhaustion. He just wanted to sleep, but that irritating jangle wouldn't let him. Where was it coming from? Goroth Owen asked, "Are you there?" Suddenly the jangle rattled louder, this time accompanied by a loud creak and a flood of torchlight as bright as the sun. Out of that glowing corona lumbered the largest Morito he had yet seen. That's Delgan. "I see my assistants have been overzealous in their efforts to sedate you. It is proper to tremble when you are addressed by Delgan, leader of the Universe tribes, the Northlands. We found this among your things, Kingdom Dog. Tell me where you were going with it." "We weren't taking it anywhere, we just picked up everything we could carry and ran. We needed gold." "I'll lie. The seal that the Night Hawks used for our messages was broken. The new writing at the bottom of the page confirms your guilt. What does Gabbard's folly mean? Who are Arthur and Jimmy the Hand?" "I really have no idea. Someone else must have beaten us to it and opened the scroll before we got there. We took what we found and left before we got nabbed. We want us to cut you in on the booty. What I want is information. Your companion Goroth damns you as certainly as your light does. Until he betrayed his own, he was second in power only to me. He shall die for his disloyalty. If you choose to remain silent, I shall have your tongue and feed it to my rats. Have back your message, spy. It will do you little good in your grave." We're in a spot of bother, must be said. Delicate stalked away. Still rattled by his interrogation, Owen tried to collect his fuzz-coated thoughts into a coherent whole. Thankfully his wits had provided the lies as needed, but only narrowly had he avoided the impulse to tell everything he knew. It was almost as if he was being prodded, coerced and bewitched by magic. Astonished he had been unaware of it at the time, the boy looked again at the bulky warrior who now stood whispering over Goroth's lived form. At first he believed Delgan was incanting a spell, one perhaps intended to coerce the truth from his victim, but after a few moments it became clear the warlord was conversing with his barely conscious friend. "No," Goroth crowed, shaking his head. "Plans unfulfilled," Delgan whispered finally. Abruptly he struck. It was too much to absorb. Even if the events unfurling before him weren't openly damning, Owen had seen enough to keep him swimming in a sea of doubts, all of them centering on the loyalty of his friend and traveling companion. But still, he had to deliver the message to Prince Arutha outside the dim wood, and he would need Goroth's help to do it. Desperately he wished he had time to sort things out. Time was the one commodity he didn't have. "Enjoy your deaths, I know I shall." Delgan's scratchy voice snatched Owen out of his thoughts, directed his attention to where the Moritrol stood in the doorway, gesturing to someone in the dungeon corridor. From nowhere a monolithic door swung into place, and once again the room was a land of shadows. Experimentally, Owen struck the bars of his cage, knowing full well the corroded structure was too solid to yield. But even as his fingertips came away from the metal, the bars began a keening vibration. The iron harmonies evocative of distant temple bells. Someone was working magic, and it wasn't him. Owen wasted no time. Later, he could debate to his heart's content about who it was that had set them free and what the reasons for doing so might be. But at the moment, he had no thought in him but finding a means to get them out of the darkened cell alive. Hurrying to Goroth, he freed him of his iron manacles and allowed the Moritrol to lean against his shoulder as they limped together towards the heavy dungeon door. Again, tugging at the handle, they found that the lock was undone, another gift from their unknown benefactor. Goroth lifted his head and spoke, his speech still slurred by the drugs that had been administered to them. "Keep moving," he said, waving a hand at the door. "No one is there." Pushing out the door, they found themselves confronting a wide hallway with passages leading in 3 other directions. Chapter 4, Marked for Death, Escape from the Northlands. We lost James. Now we'll make a new save. I will call it Stream 10, since we will continue this next stream. Don't want to overwrite the one that we have in Chapter 3. I want it to be a fresh one. this is where we break for now. Return to this next week at the same time. See who is on. Not that many of you here. This stream was a bit of a struggle. Undoubtedly, some of you already went to bed. We probably have some equipment, right? No, it's very sparse. We have no weapons, no armor. We have 2 torches, no keys, no gold, nothing. We are, as they say, screwed, but we might be able to find it somewhere else in the dungeon. Undoubtedly, we'll be able to get our stuff back. We've spent a lot of time finding all of this stuff that we had on us. We were due for an inventory cleanse, but perhaps not quite this nasty of an inventory cleanse. Let's head over to Christy Cates. She's doing Pop of the Pops. Nice way to relax ourselves into the night. Oh, stir it up. Thanks for the follow again, Silent Pizza and Piercing. Thanks for coming, guys. Back again tomorrow with Seldom Saturday, Might and Magic, part 20 or so. Making good progress in the dark side of scene, so tomorrow will probably be a fun stream. Potentially see you there. Have an excellent rest of your night and you sleep well. See you later.